If you have ADHD or get distracted easily, sometimes you don't forget the task, but you forget the context around the task. So I built a 30-second AI app with Google Gemini Canvas, and I use screenshots as save points. To better understand this, the ADHD brain can be compared to RAM in a computer. As the RAM fills up with memory, just like the ADHD brain fills up with context, a distraction can make it feel like the RAM memory is cleared, and the ADHD brain will forget the context about the task that it was performing. This aligns with the concept of executive function, and I made this diagram to better understand how this happens. The ADHD context is lost. Common saying, "I forgot the thread." It could be an interruption, the context disappears, and restarting feels like a big deal. Some people see it as laziness, but instead, it's the context that's lost. And this all relates to the RAM analogy because the working memory and the task state, the next action, and the lost thread are all being held in the ADHD brain in one moment. This is where the save point is really important. You don't have to restart or figure out where you were. We can simply save the state, meaning we have a marker in time and exactly what was going on in that moment. This allows us to go off and do other things or pay attention to other things. We can't always have the exact focus that we need in these moments when we're performing tasks. This AI app uses the screenshots as a save point, so we can feel better about leaving the task for a moment and coming back to it. Having AI help us throughout this allows us to start smaller when we come back, giving a list of tasks that are prioritized. Part of implementing some of these solutions includes new behaviors, especially when on a computer or other devices that could have distractions. On a computer, I suggest opening a clean new window. This helps reduce any noise and not bring in any tabs that don't belong with the task or the project that you're working on. And since we're using AI and taking screenshots within our computer, we want to make sure that the privacy is protected too. So I suggest just leaving the work or study or project tasks that you're working on within this fresh new window. Overall, it just has less clutter. So the screenshot is important in a couple of ways. If you're using Google Chrome like me, then you're forced to have the horizontal tabs. The new Chrome that's about to come out soon will have vertical tabs, and I just tested the most recent beta version and it's still not working for the vertical tabs. So for now, we're going to have to rely on AI interpreting the icons and the abbreviated tabs. Another thing to keep in mind is that if you use any Chrome extensions, remember that they are limited to the area of the screenshots. If you are using multiple tabs for a project or the tasks or studying, and you can't include all of the tabs that are open, you need to be able to show the tabs to AI in order for it to work best. Also, with the prompt that I'm about to give you, it really helps to give context to AI too. You can tell it what you're studying, what your project is, what your tasks are, or even give it a sequence or a schedule of what you're working on. This will be something new to get used to. Taking screenshots often and submitting them to AI is not something that naturally comes to everybody. So just be easy on yourself while you're getting used to this new system. Once you have some screenshots and a little bit of context submitted into AI, you can ask it for specific things, the overall mission, the next few steps, or what is the next tiny step for me to perform. It can also allow you to ignore things that are not priority. And another analogy that helps with this is imagine flying a plane and trying to land it without any runway lights. This can be the lost feeling that ADHD brains can experience sometimes. AI is the runway lights that come on, helping you fly straight and land the plane safely. And this means the ease and ability to restart the task easily. So stick around, I'm going to give you the full prompt that you need to set it up easily and for free with Google Gemini Canvas. You're going to be able to submit the screenshot, give a little bit of context, and have a reoccurring system that helps you along the way to get back to where you were, remember where you were at, and not lose any more time with the ADHD context switching. So before we begin with the prompt, I'm just going to go back through the 5 steps that we need. We're going to open a new focus window with only the relevant tabs. We are going to capture the context of what we're doing, including the project goals, tasks, or what we're trying to study. We're going to take screenshots as often as we can remember. The more screenshots we take and submit them to AI, the better it can help us throughout the way. We are going to pay attention to these save points, and it helps to check in sometimes on the overall mission and making sure that AI gets it correct. If we lose the context from switching, we can come back at any point to the app and ask where we were and where we need to be. We can get 3 action steps, and in 30 seconds, we can get back to what we were doing. This is the clear runway for the quick restart. And this helps with overthinking too. We can reload our focus and return anytime. If you've never used Google Gemini before, you'll just want to go to gemini.google.com and you can quickly sign in for a new account. I'm already signed in here, and my first step is going to be turning on Canvas. After that, we can go to chunky.ai and go to prompt guide in the top left, down to the prompt here for productivity and focus, and copy that prompt. Go back into Gemini and paste that prompt. I left us a section on the bottom here where you can give some context. You can tell Gemini about the tasks or the project or what you're trying to study. I'm going to give it some context about an electronics device that I'm actually building for ADHD people, starting with the display driver for the 1.3-inch OLED. And I'm going to press enter and let this work for a couple of minutes. Now I'm going to come back to my browser here. It may look like this is an everyday window for me, but this is actually very focused on the project I'm working on. I have many tabs open and I'm doing a lot of research to design this electronics device, but there are no tabs in here that are not related to this project. And the app is finished. There is one last step to do in here. We need Gemini to be able to interpret the images when we submit the screenshots. It needs to understand and extract the information and the context of what's happening. So the next step we're going to do is add Gemini features down here on the right. We'll give that about a minute to cook. While Gemini is building this, if you had any other ideas, or if you're working on anything with AI for your ADHD, let me know in the comments. After about a minute, this is all ready to go. Because of my context and I told it what I was working on, it already started filling in the tasks for me to pay attention to. This next step is very helpful, and I tend to do this when I'm trying to work on 2 different windows and to stay on task. I need to have the visual ability to see anything that I'm using for tracking. And in this case, it's going to be the app. So my first step is to get this ready and shrink it down as slim as it can go. Google Chrome has a limit, and this is it here. Then I go back to the original window I'm working on and put them next to each other. Now here I am working on my circuit. Sometimes I need to go into a different tab and do some research so I can build a better, more reliable device. If you're unfamiliar with what you're looking at here, this is a circuit board, and this is how you design them. Sometimes I'll need to go back to the original documentation of the microcontroller circuit that I'm working with, and other times I'm looking up other displays that I could be using in the place of the one that I have right now. So to give you an example of the screenshot, I'm using a Mac, so I'm going to hit Shift-Command-3. Remember that we're going to want the entire amount of tabs that are within this window. I'm going to go back over to the app that I have along the side here, and I'm going to upload the screenshot. And now I'll synthesize the image with Gemini. It's going to break down the image, try to look at the tabs, and it's going to recognize that I'm performing some kind of work about a display that is not the one that I was originally researching. And it ran really quickly. And here it recognizes which window, tab, and what I was doing on that page. So for an example, right now, if I got a phone call or if my dog needed to go out, I may go off and go do something else and come back and try to understand why I was looking at this page. Because I gave Gemini the original mission and tasks of researching displays, it can then help me get back on track and restart. Another feature that I put on the top is a timer. Its default is 25 minutes for a Pomodoro style, but it's adjustable for whatever task you have going on because some are shorter and some are longer. So what I like to do is submit a screenshot of what I'm doing right now when I'm about to dive deeper into another task, and I start the timer. And remember, if you want to play around with any of these settings, you can come down here and tell Gemini to change anything you want, whether it be the colors or the style. If you like more visuals, if you like the font to be larger, anything you want, you could just tell Gemini what to do. I tried to give you the best possible prompt to start this off with so you can be successful and stay on track and be able to restart with your tasks or your studying. And this isn't just for people with ADHD, this could be for anybody who just gets distracted or has a lot going on. Sometimes projects we work on or things that we're studying are very complex and require a lot of tasks and a lot of things to remember. You can get your prompts at chunky.ai. You can also check out my Chunky GPT, which is just a link that brings you to ChatGPT but uses my custom GPT. It's built upon tons of ADHD information, knowledge, and helpful tips and tricks for productivity and focus. And if you haven't yet already, subscribe and like the video. If you want to support what I do, it's 100% free. And if you're looking for a system that handles more complex projects and tasks, check out this video.